Hi everyone, it's Karen here. Welcome to another video with me and Sweet Poppy Stamps and Stencils. Today is Inspiration Day and I do hope that you stay tuned because my design teammates and I have a fabulous lineup of video tutorials for you. So the one that I'm going to be sharing with you first up is this crocus stamp, which is just gorgeous, and I've surrounded it with the lovely sunburst stencil. The detail on these stamps is amazing, so even if you're not an expert colourer, you can get a fabulous effect. I'm going to show you a couple of the others that I've made with this new stamps range. Here is the fuchsia. Isn't that gorgeous? The detail is amazing. So it makes it so easy to colour. I've got the cherry blossom, the passion flower, isn't that gorgeous? And then our little star of this show, which is the crocus stamp. So stay tuned. What I'm using is spiced marmalade and mustard seed and distress oxides to get us this glow around the crocus. I'm colouring it in with a couple of coloured pencils. I've got an orange and a yellow and 2 tones of green. I've got a white pen here just to create some dots. I'm using my stencil brush. And then for the stamping, I'm going to use VersaFine Clear Nocturne for the sentiment and Archival for stamping in my crocus stamp. And I'm doing that because then I'm sure that as I'm colouring, I'm not going to get any smudges. This sentiment comes from this lovely set, which is called Occasions. And you get these lovely assortment of sentiments. Different fonts, different sizes. Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to start with is a piece of card, which is 10.5 centimetres by 13.5 centimetres. And I am going to stamp it in my stamp press. So there's my card, and I've actually just positioned my stamps towards the bottom. Now, I don't usually do them both together, so we'll see how this goes. Usually I would stamp my, you know what, why don't we jolly well just do that. So I always butt my card up towards the corner of my stamp press. Then if it comes apart, moves, I know exactly where to put it. So I'm gonna stamp "You Are the Best" first. Voila. Oops. That's good. And now we're going to pop our little crocus down. So I kind of want it just there to give enough space for our lovely sunburst to burst out behind it. And as I said, I'm going to use Archival for this one. And I always do this tap, tap, tap with the ink pad. If you scrape it along, you often don't get as good enough effect. It's quite a detailed stamp, so I'm just going to make sure that look at that! Isn't that gorgeous? Yay. Okay, just put that away. And I only ever clean my stamps with water and a cloth. I have one of my trusty little cloths right next to me all the time. Just going to clean my fingers. I also got some hand sanitizer right next to me so that I can keep my fingers clean of any inky mess. There we go. Then I'm going to pick up my... Now you can put this on a magnetic sheet and hold it in place, but really this is not going to take very long, so I'm just going to hold it in place. So you can see what you want is you want this stencil to frame your lovely little crocus. I'm going to pick up both of my colours because as you can see on this one, I did a variety of yellows and oranges. It just creates a bit of extra interest. So I always tend to start with a lighter colour. So that's what I'm going to do. Random places like that. And then I'm just going to bring, so now that I've got less ink on my brush, I'm just going to slightly bring it around this crocus to create a little glow. Nice. And sometimes you think, gosh, I haven't got enough ink, or I haven't got much ink on there. But you will be amazed when we pick it up how much we've got. And then you're just going to pop a few bits of this spiced marmalade in and around. Making sure that you pick up all the little sunbursts, bobbles, whatever these are called. Oh, looking good already. Just making sure that you've got a few. There we go. I'm sure that's gorgeous. Yes, happy with that. Lovely. See how super easy this card is, and of course that sunburst stencil will lend itself to all of the stamps in this new release. Easy as. So when I'm colouring, people go, oh, I find colouring so difficult. Really not. Again, I'm going to, especially with these stamps where the detail is, I mean, just look at that. They're just beautiful. So with my, I'm actually going to start with the darker colour first, and I'm going to just let me show you, using almost a scissor, this sort of backwards and forwards. I'm not going to colour in long lines. I do this because then when we bring the other colour along, it sort of joins it up, you see, like that. So I am going to pick my darkest colour and go along the shading, which is so easy to see on this stamp in my backwards and forwards little motion. And I'm just going to colour the shaded areas of the stems and of the leaves. So you can see there are lines on these leaves and petals. I just go along the lines. I'll show you in a second what we've got with our first layer. And that's the other thing. I do build up layers and layers. Very rarely will I put just one colour down, because that gives it a lot more interest. I'll stop in a second and you can see. Now, can you see what I've done there? I've only coloured bits here and there, because you can always come back. Then I'm going to take my lighter colour. The pencil colours that I'm using today are Prismacolor, and this one is True Green and the darker one is called grass green. Okay, so now I'm just going to come in. So see, it's ever so subtle, but if you only had one colour, you would notice the difference. So I'm just going on those stems that I've already coloured to finish it off. Because leaves and petals, they're certainly not one block solid colour. There is variation in the whole piece, so you can see how it's coming together. I'm just going to go back to my dark and finish off some of these leaves. There we are. Leaves are complete. And now I'm going to come in with the petals. And again, we're going to have so much fun with these. Starting with my lighter colour here. This one is canary yellow. So I'm just going to come in from the top. And again, just this scraping backwards and forwards motion. And it doesn't have to be too perfect, because again, not all petals are exactly the same shade. There is light, there is variation in each of those petals. So I'm going to just roughly colour it with this backwards and forwards motion, and then we'll come over it with the orange, following the lines that have been drawn on this lovely stamp. There you go, there's my yellow. Now I'm going to come in with my orange, and I'm going to start at the bottom and just go up. You can see my hand is doing this motion. And I'm going to go around the edges of these petals and just up. There you go, to create a bit of interest there. Now obviously if you want it darker, just do it darker, following the shaded lines on the stamps. I'll show you this and then we'll speed it up. Look at that. Oh, so easy and so effective. This could work for a birthday card, anniversary card, just thinking of you card. Look. Making sure you don't have to colour the whole thing in. You can see here, by allowing that bit of lighter colour to come through, it makes it look much deeper than if we had one flat colour. So there we have it, and you can see that I've left a tiny bit of white space in the centre where those little stamens are popping out. That, because of that white, it will just give it an extra pop. Now I'm going to take my white Sigma Ball roller pen, just going to make sure it's going to run, and then I'm just going to dot. And there's no science to this dotting. I'm just going to go around the edge of some of these petals, some of these leaves, not too many, but it just adds some extra interest. So this is really relaxing. I love colouring. I do find it so therapeutic. Look at that. How easy is this? There we go. Look. Voila. Here's your card. Now this one's come out a bit brighter. I don't know quite what I did there, but Actually, I quite like both of these. So then what I did is I just mounted it on a bit of card to bring out that orange. Often when I'm mounting cards, I will use a darker mount than the actual card. That again just draws your eye into the center of the card. So there you go, first video of the day. I do hope you like it, and I do hope you'll stay tuned for the rest of our video tutorials. Bye for now.